think we're good. I believe we're okay. Alright. We're getting into this. No, I'm not gonna get all my things mixed up. We're getting into this his house. I need to think of a better word. I really do need to think of a better word. Anyway, I've got my pre-roll deleting ads going. We're cracking straight into things. It is day 87. It is a Monday. Life is good, I think. We are... I forgot to... No, I didn't forget to. Wasn't up to stream yesterday. So I'm making it up today. And we're going to be doing... Yeah, making up today. And then we'll actually be also streaming the next couple of days. Because I won't be streaming this weekend. So I want to do those games instead. Tomorrow and the next day, or now I'm thinking about it, might even be possibly some other time actually. I'll see how I go. I'm thinking like it might, maybe I stream tomorrow and the day after, or maybe I don't stream Tuesday, I stream Wednesday, or maybe I just give the next set of streams in this anyway and just do the Naruto ones. So I'm thinking that might be a little bit better, possibly. Maybe? I'll see how I go. But anyway, that's the plan. We'll stream some other days. Oh hey, Cycus! Welcome in. Greetings. I hope things are doing fabulously for you. I hope your day is good, / night. No, your evening / late night is going well. It'll be late night, won't be evening. But yes, I hope you're doing good. Trying to do how we feeling. I'm feeling a feeling. I am what am I feeling? I'm feeling glad that work went okay today. And I'm feeling, don't know what I'm feeling actually. I'm feeling okay. What about you? How about you, should I say? How are you feeling? Yeah, but no, I think I'm okay. I think I'm okay. It's always hard to tell when you're a lady. When you're a lady and your hormones are just like 50 million miles a day. I mean, like now, I'm good. 10 seconds later though, I might be having the worst day ever. And then 10 seconds after that, oh, my day's actually fine. I'm just being crazy. It's wonderful, yeah. The joys of womanhood. Actually no, I'm good. I've got a lovely cup of tea and it's actually the most perfect temperature. So no, life's good. Get beans. So if I can get him in the combo, because he doesn't have any. Right, one more. Bam. Lovely. I was doing some calculations with this, and I've dropped far more than I was thinking with these. So if I continue at this pace, 80 fights a day, every weekend, what should we call it? Every single weekend, then what should we call it? I will be finishing this in December. Do I need to drop the sound down? I've got a funny feeling the sound's too high. Hold on one sec. I'll just after this, I'll just drop that sound just a tiny little bit. One second. One tickety boo. Right, hopefully that's better. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Anyway, Cythius, how are you? How are things? Depending on which minute you ask me how I'm doing, my answer's gonna vary. As a lady, as a woman, as a cold-blooded female, warm-blooded, I was about to say, not cold-blooded, warm-blooded female, my mood shifts and is as fickle as the winds. That is something I've come to accept. Oh, he's going. Oh, he's real going. Oh, he is zipping around and he's not using a single substitution. Okay, right, lovely. But he's also not using substitutions for combos, surprisingly. Jubbly. Huh? Oh my god, I just did the wrong fight again. Oh my goodness, I swear to god, I need someone to proofread my homework with this. Okay, one second. Sorry, I'm just checking. Have I already done this fight? Oh, I haven't. Oh, thank sweet Jesus. I haven't. Lovely. I just want to make sure I'm not I'm not doing fights that I don't need to. You hanging in there? Lots of chaos. Well, I hope you're doing okay. I hope you're hanging in there well. I hope it's not like, because you can get like two kinds of hanging in there. You can get like, I'm barely keeping my head above water, kind of hanging in there, and you can get the, oh, I'm alright, things could be worse, things could be better, kind of hanging in there. So I hope it's the latter of the two. Right, now to do the actual fights that I was meant to do. I swear, as each week, as each day, as each tick of the clock passes me by, I lose a brain cell. I swear. And it's either the gaming, the ice cream, the stresses from work, the stresses from life, the social anxiety, the general malaise, and dark, stressed, anxious mood of life that's causing it, so... There we are. Fabulous. Wedding planning chaos. Wedding planning chaos. Who's getting married, may I ask? Is it you getting married? And I'm glad your tooth's getting better. Not glad that your cheek's starting to like act up, but yeah. But what kind of like, sorry, I've already like, you know, as every young girl does, I've already planned my wedding. Hopefully if it happens, I've already planned my wedding, like detail for detail. So if you need any help, yeah. You're getting married. Oh. Congratulations! Oh my goodness. I love it. I love weddings. I love marriages. I love everything. Oh. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be great. I know, like I can imagine how horrendous the wedding planning will be. Or is going ish. I've been like on the fringes when like other people have been planning weddings, so I can't say I fully understand the stresses, but I can empathize. But oh my goodness, that's so exciting though. The little girl in me comes out when it comes to like wedding stuff. Oh, that's so exciting. Because how long? How long do you like? I'm guessing you have a date planned. Like how long have you got left? Oh, don't worry. No, even spiritually invited is more than I could ever ask for, Scythius. But honestly, like, and besides, I've even got enough money to like save up for a bloody toothbrush. So, but no, it's all good. I'm just so excited for you. I'm honestly so excited for you. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna everyone says that their wedding day is like the happiest day of their life. It's gonna be great, and everyone's just gonna be looking so good, and like it's gonna be. I know I'm calling it now. The day is gonna be beautiful. The sun is gonna be shining. The venue is gonna look immaculate. The food will be amazing. I need pictures though. My one request is I need pictures. And when the last you said is in October. Oh, that would be so lovely. Oh, okay. You're probably gonna get so like fed up with me by the end of this, but I'm just so happy. I'm just so happy for you, honestly. If you want any advice or any tips or any suggestions or ideas from someone who has A, never been married, B, has a very fantastical, idealistic idea of weddings, and is very schoolgirl when it comes to it, ask away. I will be more than happy to oblige. Oh, nice. Please do. Oh, it's gonna be so exciting. It's gonna be so exciting. You should totally do. You should totally get it. Where like you get all the bridesmaids and groomsmen, you give them swords, and then when you walk back down the aisle, everyone's like holding their swords up and through like little sword tunnel, and then that'd be so cool. Me and the boy are totally doing that for our one. Probably won't at the end of the day, but like it'd be so cool. Oh, it'd be amazing. And then you could have like Viking horns, like Viking trumpets or something. Like rather than, you know, like the wedding music thing, like walking down, you have like big like Viking or like Celtic like horn thing that they like play when they're announcing their arrival. So you could do that. Oh my lordy. There's so much you could do. And all of it will be spectacular. I've got like 10,000 ideas on what you could do for a wedding, because one idea I had is that there's a big like reception hall that we're going to have, because we're going to have like 1,000 people at ours. Not actually, I'll probably end up being like 50 at most, but anyway, but at our reception thing I was thinking we have like, you know, because you have like all your little tables, and then each table we're going to theme to one of our like interests. So we're gonna have like the Lord of the Rings table, and we're gonna have the Star Wars table, and then we're gonna have like the Final Fantasy table, and then because the boy has to have his tables as well, so he can have like the God of War table and the Red Dead Redemption table, and then each oh my goodness, and then you can have like his like man tables, like the hunting table and the car table and all those sorts of things, and then I can have like and then like and then on each table there'll be like, it'll be all decorated like with the colors of like that thing, or like sort of with like decorations that kind of like tie into what the theme of the table is. So then like, yeah. Or the one that we really want to do is we find if there's like a big like Viking mead hall that you can like rent out thing, and then we'll just have our reception at like a giant like Viking mead hall, and then we've just got this super long table with like all like the food and stuff, so everyone's sitting at the one table, which we like the idea of, because then you don't really have like the head. I've never liked the idea of like the head table and stuff like that. I know, it feels nicer having like, you know, it feels like more like everyone's there for like, everyone's part of it for when you're all sitting at the one. Yeah, but then we have like a giant like mead hall, and then we're gonna have like, yeah, you can have it like in like a foresty setting, and then you've got like fairy lights everywhere, and it's all like majestic and like jewels, and it's like, imagine if you were like elves getting married in like Lothlorien or something. Oh, yes. I love it. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about weddings. Maybe I should be a wedding planner. I'm absolutely horrible at coordination and organisation, so I'd be absolutely horrible as a wedding planner, but I'd be very enthusiastic about it. Because then I had one idea, and I doubt, like, it would never ever happen in a million years, because the boy would rather die than do it. But I was thinking, you know, because you have to have like the first dance sort of thing. So I'm thinking, you know, okay, so we go up on the dance floor, even though I hate dancing, but you go up there and it starts all slow, and it's all like, oh, that's so nice. It's all like the little slow dance, blah blah, blah. And then suddenly, boom. Like, not like a bass drop or anything, but suddenly the music like changes and all these like maraca sounds come in, and suddenly now it's like a little jivey like Latin ballroom like samba kind of number, and everyone's just like, what's going on? And then suddenly whoosh, both of us like rip our like clothes. That sounds, I'm about to say something. No, I won't. I'm not gonna say what I was just about to say. I'll say we've done a very quick costume change. 1 second we're wearing our wedding clothes, next second I'm in like a little like frilly Latin ballroom number. He's wearing the whole like Latin, like those like trousers. They're just trousers that they wear, but like a little vest sort of thing. And then suddenly, boom, we like break out into this whole choreographed Latin ballroom samba, paso doble, rumba, like whole number. And then we're just like, we do it. Dance finishes. Spectacle. Beautiful. Everyone's like, oh my goodness, we came for the wedding, we stayed for the amazing Latin ballroom number. We give people a show. We give back to our wedding guests with their amazingness. Oh my goodness, yes. I know the boy would never do it, or actually me and the boy would never do it, because we both A, hate dancing, B, hate dancing in front of people, C, hate being the centre of attention, in that kind of way, that sort of thing. But in my head, it's a fabulous idea for people who it would actually work for. And also, given our two families, my family would probably think it's fabulous. His family would probably be like, what have we just walked into? So it wouldn't even work on that level. But anyway, a girl can dream. A girl can dream. Also, I just realised I probably said all of that about 10,000 miles an hour. So if you didn't catch any of that, that's fine, because I don't think anyone else would have. I think even my brain was going too fast for me to keep up, so. Lovely. Take steps to begin a dance, transition to the boss fight music. See us dance, you must defeat us in that. Ooh. I love that. Oh, I love that so much. I think you, yes. Oh my goodness. And then suddenly, LAN party, more like, and then we just break out like the Tekken tournament or something. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. No. First dance isn't like a first dance. It's like we break out the Dance Revolution mat and we like it turns into like a dance battle. See, now that would be more fitting. I think the boy would do it then. Oh my goodness. Yes. Oh my god, yes. You're allowed to steal that. You're allowed to steal that. Oh my god, that's perfect. Yeah, cause what game would the boy pick? I would have this. They'd have to beat me in Naruto. Yeah. Yeah, they'd have to beat me in Naruto, and the boy, I wonder what the boy would do. Maybe Counter-Strike? But then that's not really like one-on-one. What would be a one-on-one game that the boy plays? Mortal Kombat, probably. Oh, that's fabulous. Oh, that's so fabulous. Yes. I love it. Looks like my mum is very traditional when it comes to weddings. Like, if it's not a wedding from England in the 1960s where it's very white dress, pink flowers kind of business, she ain't having it. And I'm like, well, tough, mother. I'm gonna have it. It's gonna be like regal. It's gonna be like purples and golds and like nice, like deep, like wine reds. Probably even gonna be in the Viking meat hall. My mum's gonna absolutely love it. She'll love it when she's there. She'll hate the idea. She'll think it's not traditional enough. And then when suddenly I bring out the bloody video game stuff, Mum will be like, "Oh my god, it's the wedding, and it's a wedding, not like a video game party." I'm like, "But mother, it is." Could never convince her to dance battle, but a game battle it. 2v2 dice throw to beat the Ooh. Oh, yes. Of course, because you're now married. You're now like the ultimate couple. So of course it makes more sense to have it like. It makes so much more sense to have it like a 2v2. So you can prove to everyone that like, yeah, we got married because we're like the ultimate power couple. Oh my goodness. What can we do? What can me and the boy do? What could me and the boy do? Is there any like fighting games when they're is there any fighting games that are like 2v, like you can have like 2 players, like tag team in it. Does Tekken tag team let you do that maybe? Actually, no. If there was like a, oh, if only there was like a 2v2. Actually, no. I was gonna say if there was like a 2v2 mode on like Borderlands or like Tiny Tina's or Destiny or something. I'm like, oh, hang on, no. We both died incredibly quickly on those games. Settle and Smash. Probably, yeah. I'm trying to think of like, because we don't actually play too many, because it's the problem where we both me and him like single player games, is that we very rarely actually play any games together. I'll think of it. Or I teach him how to play Magic the Gathering, and then we do like a whole like thing where we're just to show how psychically and spiritually linked we are. We do like, you have to like face us in a duel of Magic the Gathering, but like each turn you have to alternate, like you do it 2v2, but like each turn you have to alternate with the other person. So you kind of got to be like aware of the strategies that the other person's trying to set up for you to like make sure that you're carrying the strategy on. But because you know, as husband and wife, you were spiritually and psychically linked, so you would know, and you can just show your superiority to everyone. Just yes. Because I kind of like, I get the idea of it. Because I get the idea of it from the episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or episodes where they're fighting, when they're dueling Pegasus, and then Yugi and Yami-Yugi are, they're like alternating which one they are every other turn, because otherwise Pegasus is reading their mind or reading their cards or something. So they're like swapping who it is every other turn, so he can't seem to get like a read on them. Like I've always had that, the episode's always stuck out in my mind. I've always thought it'd be a neat format to do. God, that's taking me back. Goodness, that must have been what, like 20 years ago? 20 years ago that would have been. Oh lordy, I'm getting old. Working name, Millennium Partner for. Ooh. Millennium Partner. I like that. Pass off the Novus, Kaiba, and then you get the Pegasus duels, yeah. Why is he just sending Shuriken? Yeah. Lovely. Excuse me. That's right, because did I did I tell you about, I feel like I said it would have been ages ago if I did. My dad's idea for Dungeons and Dragons. For like, he calls it cinematic combat, but he's changed how combat works, or he does a new way of doing combat. Because we're this weekend for his birthday, we're doing, me and about like 6 other people in my family, we're all doing a big a one shot over a couple of nights that he's DMing. But we're going to be, because he's done the cinematic combat quite a few times, but it'll be the first game that I've done where I've actually done it as well. But I'm quite excited for how that's gonna go. I have talked about it. Okay. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because I've got to set up my character today for it. Yeah, and he sent through sort of how it generally works. I'm excited. I'm excited to see how it goes. Yeah. Oh yeah, so our guidance has been, they've got to be human characters, 3rd level, no restriction on class or anything like that, and because we're doing his cinematic combat thing, no such thing as spell slots, and it's just that every spell requires a d20 roll, so you can technically get critical spells, but you can also get failed spells. I think if a spell fails, you can't use it again until a long rest, that sort of thing. So I'm playing a human paladin. And oh god, I can't remember what the name I picked for it was, but it was like a super long name. Yeah, so human paladin. Whatchamacallit, and the name, I think the name I've got is like, it's called like Beanra Karithakara. It's like a really, really, really long name, but the whole point is that like I shorten it to Bean, and then my last name's Butter, so my name's like Bean Butter. But then they're like, why is it like Bean Butter? So then, like, because when I'm filling out my name on my little paladin forms when I signed up, because you know you put your last name first. So my name's like Butterbean, and my parents thought it would be a funny I'm just trying to think if it's like, no, it's not intentional by my parents. It's just they just shorten it to, like, they want to give me like a super long name, but I shorten it to Bean. Anyway, and then it's just coincidence that our last name's Butter. But anyway, yeah, so I'm doing that, and I think, what other things have I got? I think of the languages I've picked, because I've got 3 languages. I've just given it Celestial, Abyssal, and Primordial languages. Yeah, but I'm kind of playing it like imagine a paladin. Imagine like I'd say maybe short, like short and stocky, short and chubby, paladin who is quite like bumbling, like armor's too big, like armor's way too big for them, can't really I fumble with my weapons ish, Actually, do I fumble with my weapons? No, it's just my armor's too big, so it kind of like looks like I'm wearing like an armor like 2 sizes too big for me. I'm like super kind of like, imagine like Emma from Trails of Cold Steel, like super smart, but like in a really bookish kind of way, who like takes my job as a paladin very seriously, and kind of like tries and does everything to the letter from a little like paladin book that I've sort of written as I was going through my training, or like how to be a good paladin sort of thing, and I kind of like, yeah, just sort of can wield weapons okay, but tend to like fumble with them, or like it kind of seems. Actually, no, I've decided I'm gonna change it. I wear armor that's too big. It I give the impression that I'm like not quite capable with like weapons and what I'm doing, but like I am. But so it's kind of like unintentionally misleading. So people are like off guard, I guess, or caught by surprise when I'm actually quite able. Yeah. Yeah, but the campaign synopsis, brief executive summary that we've been given is there's a town that's famous for like once a year. It has like it's like a baking. It's either a baking or the world's best sausage rolls. It's like, or maybe world's best baking. World's best baking contest or whatever. So all of our characters have kind of like won a lottery to get like free tickets to the like the finals or something of this concert. So we've all arrived at this inn, at like the Baker's Dozen Inn, in the town, in the village. So we've all arrived there, and there's all the other people who are all arriving or already there who've also won the lottery. So then we go to sleep that night, and then obviously chaos ensues after. But there's a statue in the inn, which is kind of like it's been forged from the ashes of the contest's founder. So I'm guessing that's going to be stolen, or I can imagine what sorts of things will go on. So we'll all be. So now I've got to try and think of a way of why my paladin's there. Maybe I think I'm just a fan of sausage rolls. I think that's what it is. So now I've just got to think of a reason why my character would want to enter in the lottery for a sausage roll contest, especially when I'm an extremely devout paladin. So it's either that I really like sausage rolls, or I've been studying and maybe come to in my fervor to be amazing paladin and to help the paladin order, or the order of, I can't remember the name of the faith that I put. Maybe I've kind of like misread something, and I've got this idea in my head that like sausage rolls are gonna be like, there's something about sausage rolls that are gonna make paladins like better at their job. Maybe they've got like amazing vitality enhancing effects or something, or there's like or I've misinterpreted something, and I think that like sausage rolls are meant to be like a symbol of the god that I worship. Maybe like a symbol of their, I don't know, kind of like with the Christian god and the rainbow, kind of like a similar thing. So I've just got this like, I've misinterpreted something, and I think that sausage rolls are meant to like solve some problem, and so I want to know who the winner of the contest is, so I can like ask them if they can make sausage rolls for my paladin peeps. Maybe it's that. I'm digging that. I kind of like I like the idea of playing a character who's sort of like, how do you describe it? Like wholesomely naive and not necessarily gullible, but is so eager to, you know, show their stuff that they kind of like misinterpret things or take things too literally, or maybe or see meaning in things that aren't really there, which then can come across as naivete, and you know, people might see that as a way that, you know, oh, this chick doesn't know what she's doing, but then like if I had to defend myself in combat, I'm just like secret like killing machine. You know, just like insanely capable with like a spear and a long sword or something. Yeah. Or maybe actually I think yeah. Anyway, very long-winded explanation of the character I've made. Now Neji and Sasori. I'll have to let you know how it goes. It's going to be very interesting, to say the least. One of my older sisters, I don't know if she's ever played it. No, she's never played it before. And judging from the fan chats that have been going on, it's, just when Dad's sort of giving us the sort of what our sort of restrictions or requirements are, she's taken things a little bit. I don't want to say she's taken things too seriously, because you know it's always refreshing when you've got someone, you know, when you're playing a D&D game and people are, you know, they've got the right idea about it, I guess. You know, they're not being flippant or just doing things that are gonna inherently ruin the fun. You know, D&D is always very much the players and the DM collectively are responsible for making it a fun game, not just the DM and not just the players. But whatchamacallit, and I have just realised I have missed I've just missed a fight. I think I know what I did. I think I didn't do a second. I didn't do a second Young Conqueror. Anyway, yeah, but I think she's like very. She's kind of like being the enforcer of Dad's restrictions and requirements, and we're like, you know, we're like jokingly putting in the chat what our characters are going to be, but she like thinks that that's what we're actually doing, and she's like, oh no, you can't have that because like you can't have pointy-eared people. Like I have to be. I'm like, we know, like it's all goods. We know. We're just saying these as like joke requirement, you know, joke requirements, joke characters. Just taking another there, just a teeny little squizzy bit too. Oh my goodness, I just picked the wrong character again. Losing it. There we go. least I got that. I hate with a passion playing as young Kankuro. Only saving grace is that his melee combos does a hell of a lot of damage. Although that is all good. Lurk away indeed. I'm a playtest character. Emil Milstein, the wizard student, could barely kick ass. Ooh, you will have to tell me about that sometime. I'll keep that in the memory banks. I love that wizard student could barely class. Yeah, I think there's something about class, like playing characters in classes where they can like. There's this, yeah, they can either like only just do what their class does. Like a rogue who really struggles to sneak up behind, struggles to sneak up behind people and do backstab.
This battle won't be a problem either. The victor has been decided.
It's just so frustrating how I was going so good on time, and then those two fights with Kankuro just like absolutely killed the cadence that I had. Because this is fight, what, 26? 36.
Battle begins.
Come on. There we go. Fabulous. God, got another Danzo. Jesus. I mean, at the end of the day, we're gonna have to, like all these fights, I have to remember, we're gonna have to do these at some point. So if I can get the young Kankuros, and I can get the Danzos, and I can get the 10-10s all out of the way now, it means I don't have to do them later. It'll be full of all the fun ones, like the Minatos and the Shisuis. Honestly, the more and more I think about it, the more I really definitely want to do you know, just play those old Ultimate Ninja games on the PS2. Oh, I want to stream those ones so bad. Just to relive the good old days. Oh, Grace, I'm just looking. I've got another Conqueror coming up. Fun. Yep.
So drab.
Lovely. Come on. Okay. I've got Tintin and Kiba. Ugh. So basically this is gonna be like 4 ultimates in a row. Oh, come on. Bruh. Why is it so aggressive? Here we go, finally. Right, one more. One more of those anyway. Beauty. Oh, come on. There we go. Goodness, these fights are just annoying. I think is the best word to call this. Annoying. I was going so well on time. And when I say I'm going so well on time, I generally mean in the span of an hour, I should be able to do 40 fights. 25, basically it equates to about 20 fights per half hour. If I say on like a good day, on like a, but when I'm just cranking out fights, I'm finishing them sort of around like the 70, 80, 75 mark, count mark. I can sort of bump that up quite a number. I can finish like, I think I've managed to finish like 26 in 1.5 hour before. It's almost like 1 a minute. When I've got, so like today, I was actually on track to doing quite a number of, maybe not doing that good, but you know, a decent amount. Definitely more than 20 per half hour, and then suddenly, I get stuck with 2 young conqueror fights a 10-10 fight, Danzo just being a numpty, Chio, Sasori, Old Kankuro, just all of these fights with puppet users and people who are just generally very slow, and with AI that's just being really aggressive. I think, hopefully, if I look at the fights we've got, I've got Utakata, never mind. Later on, I've got an adult Kankuro. Who's he facing? Onoki. Shouldn't be too bad. And then I've got more Shinos. Wanted to get to at least, kind of like at least, maybe do I do 90 fights? I might want to get to 90 fights actually. Just literally like any fights I can do above 80, it's going to help with cutting down how long it's going to take me to finish, like this whole thing. Alright, after this fight too, I'm gonna run some ads, so get ready for ads. Oh yeah, so I've just got the note that my pre-rolls are chucked back on. Okay, so I'm gonna run another 3-minute ad. You are not gonna miss anything other than a fight or two, more like one fight. So I'll be right back after this complimentary ad break. Oh my god, I've done it again. How? How did I muck that one up? It's Toby White versus Kisame. How the hell did I get Tobirama from that? I think because I've seen Toby. I've got this down as Toby White. That must be it. Lovely, just keep this up. And then one more. Oh. Fab. Lovely. Alright. Alright. Kisame. And that one. Yeah, so I kind of want to get to 90 fights. If I can. getting through these thick and fast. And then we've got a Naruto Toad versus Utakata, so even faster. Although the Utakata fight's gonna take longer than I would have hoped, or will hope. I'm gonna anticipate it's gonna take long. And bang. I must say though, it's actually very easy to counter a long-ranged person. If you get someone whose ultimates are, you know, whose ultimates don't really matter about how close you are. Oh, come on. Beauty. That actually took far longer than it should have, and I probably should have used that ultimate a couple more, probably earlier actually. And also, something I've noticed, I know Mum and Dad will absolutely kill me. No, they won't. No, they'd be very disappointed. As I've noticed, as time's gone on, and I mean, I'm sure there would actually be a lot of reasons why. I've started pronouncing things very oddly, in the sense like I've noticed a lot. Probably, I will say probably, I'll completely forget the L sound at the end. And I'm noticing it more and more and more that I'll say things and completely miss syllables, or no, I won't miss syllables. I'll miss some parts of the word, and I can just hear Mum and Dad's voice in the back of my head going, "Oh my goodness, talk normally." Come on, Bubbles, there we go. Goodness. Right, now we've got Iruka and Fu, which should take far quicker to do. I'll finish my cup of tea, now to have more water. Go in. Here we are. Right, should get in now. Fab. Easy. Easy peasy. Oh yeah, one thing too, which, as you may know, this is gonna sound way more dramatic than I would like it to be, but subject matter, it's kind of can very easy to be. I am a massive proponent of getting your mental health in check. Mental health issues, anxiety, stress, depression, they are not fun. And underdiagnosed, I want to say underappreciated, but I don't mean then like you should appreciate them. I feel often dismissed. I think dismissed is probably the word I'm looking for. It is something that's never treated seriously, taken seriously, but it is horrible. I wouldn't even go so far as to say horrific in terms of the effects it can have on people, how it causes you to feel and think, and so with all that, I'm a very large proponent, advocate for, you know, if you're ever feeling under the weather mentally, going to see someone, whether it be a counsellor, which actually I found out the general difference, I guess, between like a counsellor, a therapist, a psychotherapist, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, all those sorts of things, because they all seem to do very similar things, but there's very slight differences between and their approaches. I see someone who is more psychotherapist, but also has counselling experience. But they say that so counselling is very much something to address like an immediate, in the now thing. So if someone has passed away, or you're experiencing difficulties at work, or something specific has happened at work that you're having difficulties with, like you're wanting to address a situation in the here and now, that's what counselling's for. It's generally short term. You know, we solve the thing, help you out, and then you move on. Whereas a psychotherapist is more like, you know, obviously, you know, people come from in distress, but it's a longer term thing, and they look at beyond just the here and now. They look back at what has happened in your life, in general. So I'm seeing a psychotherapist, and it is, I would highly implore and encourage, and suggest, advise, counsel others, that yeah, if you're you feel like something's not right, you just get this gut feeling that something's not right up there, like you're finding things difficult when they haven't before, or you feel that you're losing a grip on things, go seek someone out. Like, could not recommend enough. Helps you out, helps others out, it just makes life better, obviously, and you have to go in the right mindset, because they're not there. It's not a case of you sitting there going, okay, here's what's wrong, tell me how to fix it. It's very much, it has to come from within. But, you know, I've only been seeing this lady I've only done 2 sessions with her, got third on Thursday. But it has been it's been very interesting what's happened. Like, it's only probably been the equivalent of about 2 hours worth of stuff. But, you know, coming to her with anxiety, you know, saying I'm just getting anxious at everything. Anxious at everything that happens at home, anxious at work, it's causing me this, I've got like the whole like paralysis. You know, you're so anxious and you're so scared of what's going to happen, and you're like constantly worrying about, oh, what if this happens, or what if this happens. Like, you don't never start anything, you're too scared to do anything. You're constantly worrying about, you're using all of your mental and all of your energy worrying about what mights, that you've just got nothing to address what's happening then. You know, so she was saying that, you know, often it was interesting. She said that, you know, the whole CBT method, also anxiety, is not a anxiety is a feeling thing. You feel things that cause you to be anxious. It's a symptom, not the cause of the issue. Anxiety is the symptom of the underlying feelings that are causing you to be anxious. So trying to acknowledge and address those feelings underneath will help with the anxiety as a result. And so she says that's something like CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy is it's not always the most effective thing for treating something like anxiety, or is often used to treat things like anxiety and often to not as great an effect. Because CBT is it's a thinking, you're trying to fix your thinking behaviors and thinking patterns, but the anxiety is coming from the heart, it's coming from the head, so you can't think your way out of anxiety. You have to, because it's not a thinking, you're not getting anxious because you're thinking the wrong, like it, well you are, but it's being caused by a feeling at the end, at the crux of it. So yeah, just sort of talking through what those feelings might be that are causing me to be anxious, and basically we're going deep, into stuff, and it's like kind of sometimes I have to kind of remind myself, like, that's right, I've got to say everything, you know, every gritty gory detail, you know, for stuff, because that's the whole point, is that, you know, you have to be open and you have to say things that you would be uncomfortable saying otherwise, but you just have to, and it's kind of been, it's interesting when you're sort of talking about situations, you know, things that have happened to you, stuff, and it's been a few times where, you know, I've said something and she's like, stay there, like keep going in terms of like your feelings around it. I'm like, and then you kind of like you realize you're sitting there, you're like, it's, you know, there's been situations that we've talked about that I've kind of just said, oh, you know, like, oh, you know, feel a bit lifted. And she's like, stay on that, like what are you feeling? How's it making you feel? What is that meaning for you? And I'm sort of sitting there and I'm like, huh. I actually feel quite a lot of things about it, but it's like you've never allowed yourself to properly feel those things, that you've never had a way of properly expressing how you're actually feeling about that thing. So you never have. And then suddenly when you're talking to someone and you're talking about it and they're asking you and they're digging and prying, like, not prying, so that's the wrong word, but like they can see it there and they're trying to like dig it up, and you kind of just, you realise, huh, yeah, maybe that thing that person said really, really upset me, and I've kind of just shrugged it off because I've never allowed myself, or I've never felt comfortable or been in a environment where I could be allowed to be upset by things, like properly, fully acknowledge my feelings on something. And it's interesting, it's sort of, as we sort of dig through, and I'm learning how I actually, it's kind of like learning how I actually feel about things. You know, being allowed to say, it's weird, it's this weird, like, I would even go so far as to say cathartic in a sense. You know, someone said something to you, or said something in your presence, obviously fully well knowing you're going to hear it, and it upsets you. It's like, you're just like, hang on, like, whoa, that's not on. But yeah, obviously in the moment, you're not going to suddenly have an outburst like, that upset me, blah, 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 whatever. So you kind of, you know, inside you're like, oh, it's a bit mean, you know, doesn't make me feel good. You know, but because you know, you've never been in that moment, you could never properly feel that upset. So it's kind of, as a result, it's kind of been masked over time by just, you then start to justify it, you know. You're now justifying it. Oh, well, maybe they said that because I am weird, or maybe they did that because, you know, whatever. And then you're thinking, oh, okay, maybe I was overreacting, maybe I don't have anything to be upset about, or whatever. And then suddenly, when you're sitting there in front of a stranger and you're saying, you know, you're talking about it, it gets brought up, and then, you know, say, oh, you know, it's a bit miffed, and they're like, no, how do you really feel? And you're just like, well, I guess I feel upset. They're like, you know, keep going, and you're just like, yeah, actually, no, that really, really upset me. It was like, it really, like, and it just suddenly then, I haven't cried yet. I felt myself tearing up last time. I was almost about to. The last time when we talked about a couple of things, but it's like you suddenly, like, it's like you've had this tension unknowingly there for so long, and then suddenly being able to feel it, it's like letting go of a breath you didn't even realize you were holding in. And it's really, like, I can't even express it. It's like a happiness. It's like a relief. I think it's a relief more than anything, that someone is listening to you, wants you to feel that, wants to give you the permission to feel it in that moment. And it's like, for the first time, you're fully feeling what you've wanted to feel that whole time, what you wanted to feel in that moment. And it's kind of like, it just puts it, like, it puts that moment in perspective. It gives it context, it gives it perspective, and it suddenly feels like that moment in time, when I reflect back on it, now feels right in how it's framed in my head. I felt what I have. I've now properly allowed myself to feel the emotions that I should have felt. I should have allowed myself to feel at that time. But I didn't, because I was with people that I didn't feel comfortable expressing that, or I would feel ashamed for it. And it's like, now when I think back on that moment, it's like, no, yeah, it made me really upset and quite pissed off and quite mad and quite, maybe not ashamed, but I've got clarity about it. It's weird, like, it's a weird thing. And it's like, it's, you know, and I'm only on, well, technically that was the first, like, proper session I had. The one I had before that was just kind of like the introductory one, like, you know, hey, I'm keen to, you know, like, chat about stuff, let's just sort of have an intro, tell me about your problems, sort of thing. This was like a proper, like, the first one. I guess we were doing very much a similar thing, but yeah, it's like a proper one. But it's weird because you end, like, for how this chick does it, it's very much you do the talking, you lead the conversation. And yeah, and there was just a few. It's kind of, yeah, it's definitely, you are a product of your childhood. you know, your family and upbringing and all your childhood experiences have a far more of an impact, at least for me, they've actually, when you put them all into perspective, they've had far more of an impact on how I am now, how I treat relationships, how I see my family, how I see my friends, how I see things, how I see my life, has been coloured and affected by these experiences I've had far more than I realised. And it's kinda weird. Yeah. But I think also at the same time it's like I feel like the more I go through this and the more I dig deep and the more I have these similar things with other moments in time, other moments throughout life. It's like I'm gonna feel this like, you know, I'm gonna feel like, it's almost like I'm gonna get some like emotional intelligence around myself. I'm gonna understand myself a hell of a lot better, and it's kind of like to some, you know, some surface level degree. Like I know that I feel upset in moments, but I now know what truly upsets me, and even I know why it truly upsets me, and I know all the stuff that's come before that is sort of like built up that makes me have this emotional reaction to whatever it is, and I understand it. It's like I understand why I'm getting upset. So if someone asked me why are you getting upset, I'd probably be able to articulate it quite well to them. And maybe even the building up that strength, the courage to even say, you know, next time I'm with someone and they say, you know, they say something that just maybe I might have the courage to be like, hey, that was kind of not on for you to say. That really upset me. And not feeling like I'm not allowed to feel that. It's almost like a lot of the time, you know, me, Eddie definitely, but yeah, I don't know if it's a common thing that people feel, but you know, it's almost like realizing that you're allowed to feel upset about something. Like everyone feels emotions, they feel them for different things. What may make one person angry may make another happy. You know, what someone might find is really just, oh my goodness. Others might be like, that's alright. I mean, yeah, it's bad, but it's alright. You know, so you kind of like, you'll always be masking, you know, downplaying what you're feeling. Because you think maybe I'm overreacting, or maybe I'm this, but it's like getting away from this, like, there's no such thing as well, there is such thing as an overreaction, but overreactions are generally, like, rational. Like, you're consciously aware that you're being overreacting. You know, you know you're overreacting, and you're almost like you're doing it on purpose. If you're feeling something, you're feeling a certain kind of way, and it's just, you're feeling that certain kind of way, because that's how you're feeling in that moment, that's not an overreaction. I don't think it should be seen as such. And so, yeah, it's just like, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's kind of like I've always been fascinated with psychology and, you know, why we are the way we are, why we think the way we think, all this sort of stuff. I've just been fascinated by it. You know, anyone who knows me well enough will know I introspect hard. I love introspection. I will spend an entire day just introspecting. I would spend every waking hour of my day trying to psychoanalyze myself. I love it. You know, so those two combined is just right for, you know, like just, why am I the way I am? Why do I be like this? You know, so going through this stuff with this lady, it's like and just like coming to these revelations almost. It's like, this is great. I feel so much better. Some of it's hard. You know, I've had to bring up some, yeah, I guess relatively painful stuff. You know, and feelings about people that, you know, I try and rationalize and think maybe I'm being too hard on them, but it's like, no. These people have done some very, you know, she put it as, you know, they've let me down by doing these things, or in some cases not doing some things. And I'm like, huh, interesting. Yeah, because just like you know that that's the case, but it's like you've just always been like, oh, but no, but like they haven't, because it's always been I've been at fault for something, or you know, if only I wasn't this, or if only I did this, or if only I didn't do this, then, you know, they would have had no reason to do all this, you know. Maybe it's just how they are, and then, you know, there's that. But she's like, no, there's, you know, like this stuff isn't right. You know, you felt a lot of shame and a lot of disconnect and a lot of emotional isolation because of it. So no, they weren't there for you at that time. They weren't doing what they should have been doing. And, you know, and then this is the effect. This is the product of what that stuff is done. You know, and it's kind of just like, yeah. It's just been interesting. And I've got another one on Thursday. The next one on Thursday, and yeah, I'm like, it's weird because I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about all the painful stuff in my life. Excited to talk about my feelings and have a bit of a cry. But I haven't cried yet, and I'm very scared to, because I hate crying in front of strangers. Even though she's probably had people bawling their eyes out in her office, I just feel really weird. Like, feel really weird crying in front of strangers. Which I'm sure everyone does, but yeah. Yeah, but it's weird. It's just like, I just this one particular example or moment, I guess. Now when I think about it, I have this, like, I don't feel the stress from it anymore, you know? I don't feel the anxiety from it. I've felt I finally felt what I needed to about it, and I've finally been able to say with my own, you know, say out loud that no, it really upset me and it really pissed me off, and I felt really hurt by it, and just, it's now like, I felt that, so I don't need to worry about it anymore. You know, and similar situations like it, you know, I might now have the courage to say, hey, can you not? Because that's kind of rubbish. I mean, whether or not I'll ever be able to have the courage to do that is, you know, remains to be seen. But when I reflect back on it, it's like, I don't feel the anxiety about it anymore. I don't feel the stress about it anymore. It's great. I love it. Frankly, I love it. And so that's all a very, very, very long-winded way of saying if you're on the fence about whether you go to a therapist or a psychiatrist or anything like that, just do it. Even if it's just for one session, just do it. Like they always say, excuse me, the way that I believe, and a lot of people will say that, you know, just as you go to the gym for physical health, or, you know, just as you exercise for physical health and you eat good and all that sort of stuff, you know, think of therapy or like that as like a spring clean for your brain. Even if you maybe you just like do it like once a year or once every 6 months, and kind of just see it as a here's all my work, you know, just clearing out all the cobwebs in my brain, just getting all the stuff out. And then things are now clear and I can carry on, you know, carry on for the next wee while with all this mental baggage out, you know. Yeah. It's kind of, yeah, it's kind of, I just think it's very important. You know, I think it's very important, and I think, you know, as much as I think there's a lot going on at the moment with how people are on the interwebs, that I think, you know, I think there's a lot of people, I want to be careful and not say faking it, but I think there's a lot of social contagion element to this mental health stuff, and I don't want it to detract from people who feel like they need help, because I don't want people to feel like, oh, I feel like if I say I've got stress or I've got this, then people are just going to think I'm a bit of a snowflake and I just need to get over it. Or, you know, it's like, oh, you and the other 20,000 people on TikTok, you know, it's all that sort of thing. I just think that stuff like TikTok and just basically social media, greatest evil in society, or one of the greatest evil in society at the moment, causes it just to be diluted. You know, so I don't want it to be seen as such. But I genuinely do think that, you know, even though it's sorely still underfunded, under-resourced, understood, hasn't not taken seriously, I just think that probably, most likely, you know, it's become such a prevalent thing that everyone's stressed, everyone's anxious, because everyone always has been. But, you know, the previous generations have kind of just tried to put it aside, tried to bottle up a bit, and, you know, probably didn't do them much good. But now that's kind of maybe been put into the spotlight a little bit more, and maybe people are building up the courage to actually get out for this sort of thing. That, yeah, it's one of those things that you should never ever be ashamed of getting help for that sort of stuff. No. And especially, oh my goodness, especially, the boy's probably super sick of me hearing me say it to him, but the whole, like, you know, stoic men sort of thing. Like, I can appreciate stoicism as a philosophy, you know, as a mindset, fully. I think it's great. I think it's, you know, it's a good, very good mindset to have, actually. But I think that, and, you know, getting your feelings out, talking your feelings, not necessarily having a bit of a cry, but, you know, I think they're not mutually exclusive. I think you can, you know, have the stoic mindset, but also give yourself the license to, you know, say what's actually on your mind. Get a bit vulnerable. Vulnerability in stoicism, you know, definitely, you know, taking pure literal word stuff, yeah, they probably are antithetical to each other, but I think you can take a bit of both. You can take a little bit of both. So to any dudes out there If you're feeling a certain kind of way, the last thing you need to do is bottle that shit up. Excuse my language. You know, you're not helping yourself and you're gonna regret it later. Lovely. And you go. Yeah, so as I go through all my sessions, if I get any nuggets of wisdom, I will of course share. Yeah, at the moment it's basically just you're affected far more by your childhood and everything than you would ever think, ever realize. And yeah. Yeah. But it doesn't mean it has to always be that way. You know, as much as I'm now coming to see and make the connections between all of this stuff and how I've thought about certain things, doesn't mean that has to be me. You know, I'm always gonna think this, or I'm always gonna react this way, or I'm always gonna be doing this. It's like you gotta understand it first, why you is the way you is now, because once you understand it, then you know, now you can start to look at changing things. You know, you've got to understand how a car engine works before you can make modifications to it. Something I've got to remind myself with my drawing is I've got to understand how human anatomy works before I can start stylizing. I've got to understand bone and muscle structures before I can, you know, start drawing proportionate female and male forms. That sort of thing. Similar principle. Beauty. Just. I've got Pain and Young Tamari next. Not Toby. That one. Beauty. There we go. Yeah, I think I need to. Yeah, I'm hoping, kind of like by the end of my stuff, my sessions. 'Cause I think I'll have to take them. Probably have to take them fortnightly. Because if I take them weekly, I'm gonna literally run out of money by the end of the month. Yeah, I just it'll be what I'm kind of. I think what I was going in expecting was going to be like tell me how to not be anxious. But I think what I'm now going to come out with is I'm going to come out with this greater understanding of myself, and I'm going to realize why I'm feeling scared about these things at work, why I'm reacting so viscerally to things that happen at home. I'm going to know why, and I'm going to know. I'm gonna understand. I'm gonna understand me a hell of a lot more. Yeah, I guess that's it at the end of the day. Understand me more, and I feel like I'll feel less of a disconnect, because sometimes, you do things and it's kind of like you got like someone on the inside of your head that's like pounding like on the inside of your skull, going like, "Oi, why are you doing that?" It's kind of like the real you's like locked inside, while someone else is like autopiloting your body. And and all the actions that you're doing and things you're saying, it's like someone else is doing it, and like you're just like, sometimes I'll be, distracting myself at work with just browsing on things, and it's like I'm aware that I'm doing it, I'm conscious that I'm doing it, I'm sitting there, and it's like I'm on the inside of my head just like going, just stop already, just stop, and it's just like my brains and my body's just completely independent of it. It's just, I'm just carrying on scrolling, and like I'm like on the inside going, stop scrolling, just like do the stuff, just start doing work. And it's just like it's like two completely different entities at that point. It's weird. Chakradishin, you want to. Here we are. energy. And I haven't got any. Oh yes, I've got no conquerors, no Tintins, no puppet users coming up. Oh, it's gonna be fab. I'm gonna get through these next like 10 fights all with a quickness. Gorgeous. I suppose the one thing that's probably going to take the hardest, going to be the most mental energy for me. Of course, it's one of the things that I think's sort of coming out that is why he is. But, you know, people pleaser, extreme. I get terrified and I will avoid, like major avoidance, doing something if it's going to make someone angry. Like I know it's going to make someone, or not necessarily angry, but, you know, I avoid conflict. And it's weird, like I love it. I'll bring out the popcorn when there's drama going on around me. But like, you know, if someone did something to upset me, I would rather just take it on the chin, and not let them know that it upset me, because I don't want them to feel bad by something I've done, and with that thing I'm doing, telling them that they've upset me, then that makes them upset, and I feel bad because I've made someone upset, even though they were the one that upset me. Like I will just avoid that situation completely. So the thing that's going to be the hardest thing for me to try and do is when someone upsets me, saying, hey, that wasn't on. Like, you know, and especially when it's your family. You know, it's the hardest thing. I'm sure we all, you know, I'm sure some of us don't have a problem with it. I'm sure others do. Especially when you've been, you know, I'd love to know if it's like like particular cultures, particular types of families. There's this reoccurring theme, should I say, of something is owed, you know. You know, every action has a string attached, even if that string doesn't bear itself, and you know the end of the string doesn't appear until 50 years later. Everything's got that string attached to it. It's a oh goodness, I totally need to turn those sound alerts down. Oh my goodness. It terrified me there. Hey, Michael Rich, welcome in. Oh my goodness, I need to turn those down. I hope that did not suddenly just blast everyone's ears. Hello, and thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you for the subscription. It is much appreciated. Much love. But no, how are you? How are things? And that reminds me now, I don't even know if I can turn down the sound alerts. Anyway, but how are you? I a life like it's golden. That's the one. I wouldn't expect any less. Hello. What's this?
Your dinner.
Oh, thank you.
Rice, broccoli. Fried rice.
Thank you. Brioche bun. Thank you. Although, what's the time? I can make a banana cake tonight if you want.
I don't even want, no rush.
It's no rush. You don't want it?
Of course I want.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you.
I'll make it as thank you. I'll make it as thank you. Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. Yes, you did hear dinner. I have a brioche bun with rice, chicken, and roasted steamed vegetables inside. Oh wow, there's 90. Sorry, because I've got like. Oh no, I can't scroll up in here. Oh my goodness. So for 91 days, or watch one Naruto Part 1 fillet. Huh. 91 filler episode. Dang. 91 filler episodes. Goodness. Fact of the day. Thank you very much. But no, I'm glad to hear you're doing well. Don't mind me. But yeah. Sorry, I'm just having you've joined me when I'm having my my deep soul searching introspection about living up to your family's expectations and going to therapy and unpacking your childhood to a therapist. Now, I have just realized something. I have just seen something, and I've got literally no idea how you're meant to do it. There have been... there are times in these fights where a character will literally, like, throw an item behind their back. Like if you've substituted... You jump behind them, they'll like flick an item back behind their back at you. And I'm like, how are you even meant to do that? Can you even do that? Are you doing that? But I'm not looking at my character right. And they've actually been doing that the whole time and I've just never noticed. It's mental. What? Oh gosh. One thing I need to do is just with that sound alert, I've just got to double check and make sure that didn't blast, ruin eardrums. But I'm so glad my sound alerts are working for stuff. Come on, bubbles. There we go. Fabulous. Alright, now I've got Naruto 6 paths and Madara Reanimation. Oh, those brioche buns are delicious. I think it's because they've got sugar in it. Tastes kind of sweet. It's kind of nice. It tastes desserty when it shouldn't taste desserty, but it does. If you want to win my heart, when you want to win my heart, you give me dessert. Surprised you haven't done this one. But yeah, I mean, I suppose it's the beauty of I guess it's the beauty of like randomly generated matchups, is that you know I could like all the sort of like the big war fights might not do them till I'm like fight 350 left to go. Although I have, because I have saved a Naruto versus Sasuke to the very end. I've kind of like in my big sort of spreadsheet, I've like kind of like locked that matchup off from being randomly generated, just to like make sure it doesn't. Have you ever quit or been fired from a job? Because I was at work and my ex-boss came in. Ooh. Okay. I have like no, but like no. So not. Yeah. My first job. I'm technically on my. I wouldn't even call it. I hesitate to call it a third job. So let's just say the first place I worked in, I had a very strange and probably illegal work history there. Now I think about it, I was hired on a casual contract, which essentially gave me the legal right to not turn up for work because if I didn't want to. So I was on a casual. I was doing 40 hours a week, 5 days a week. I was treated, I was doing the work of a full-time employee, and I had the expectations of a permanent full-time employee, but I was technically on a casual contract for the bulk of it. There was an interim bit where, so I went from a quality control department. So when I finished uni and I went back to this place to work full-time, I was in the quality control department. I asked to be like, is there more like IT role I could have? So while they were trying to like, basically the IT manager was a numpty. Oh my goodness, numpty. So he kind of said like, oh yeah, sure, but then like took his sweet time. Like he would tell me that. I went on holiday, expecting to come back to do a job in IT. I got a call from my boss like 3 days before I was meant to come back, and he's like, yeah, get your ass back to the lab. They haven't sorted anything out. I'm like, oh great, lovely. So then what ended up happening is I ended up going into like an interim role where I went into like the production office, because it was like a salad production factory. And I went into the production office because the production manager at the time, like, basically I would be his little person doing all his projects for him, like helping out with production-y stuff. In the interim, before the IT manager sorted his stuff out and actually got me in there. It was technically from that bit, and funnily enough, it was also it was during that production thingy-mabob where I met the boy. So I was probably working in that role for maybe like 4 months, 3 or 4 months, and to be frank, to be honest, I hated it. I think I didn't fit in there at all. I didn't really get along with a lot of people in there. The systems that they were using, just couldn't wrap my head around it. It was just an awful time, really. So, kind of to be expectedly, I was kind of like made redundant / hey, I just got called into the head of production's office one day, and they said, hey, yep, next week, yep, you're done. because we don't have any more work for you. Which is really code word for get the F out. And I'm just like, oh, thank God. Just didn't want to be here. But then I said, so can I go back and work at the lab? They're like, oh yeah, no, yeah, like if you want to, you can, just ask the quality peeps, you can go back to the lab, but yeah, you're just not in the production office anymore. I'm like, okay, whatevs. So it's like, I wasn't fired, I didn't quit, but I was kind of made redundant-ish. It was like a firing without the yeah. Yeah, so like half, kind of. It was an absolutely miserable time. Oh God, I couldn't stand being there. Ended up going back into the QC lab, and then eventually made my way into the IT thing, which I sort of. And then moved upstairs to the admin office, which I enjoyed working with those people a bit more. Hated my boss. Found out I was on a casual contract right to the end of the day, and then, I won't go into it. This is a whole story for another day on this guy, because the boy was in IT, so obviously me and the boy now work in the same team. And so both of us can tell you about what absolute numpty this guy was. Oh my goodness. But anyway, so that's that. Did your job so good? To be honest, I don't think it was because I was doing my job too good that I ran out of work. I think it was very much it was like an unspoken thing where I did not fit in there. I probably wasn't, my work style didn't match anyone else's in that office, so they would get frustrated at me for not picking something up like straight away, for not understanding this bloody esoteric system that you need a bloody science degree to work out how to even operate it. So, and then I would get frustrated because they were also horrible teachers. So it was just kind of like a perfect storm of I'm hating it, I don't understand this work. They were kind of just fobbing all the stuff on to me that I really didn't have any idea what I was meant to be doing. It was just a very poorly managed, and the production manager that I was technically working under, just yeah, it was just not a good time for anyone really. So I think it was better for them and better for me that I was just out of there, because yeah, it was like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so I ended up quitting when I was in IT in that company. I ended up quitting because I was just getting screwed around. It was unbelievable how much they were bending employment law with my contracts. But then when I kind of said, hey, I kind of want something permanent, they realized, oh, well, basically they managed to weasel their way out of giving me a legal contract. And then when I kind of pulled them up on about it, they said, oh, well, we can only offer you this one because we've just realized that we've been doing it illegally this whole time, but that's okay, because if you don't do this thing that we want, then we can't hire you. It was like a weird, I've got all the details wrong on it, but it was something along those lines anyway. It's bloody weaseled their way out of it. So I quit that job, went to another job at a supermarket as health and safety. Never, ever, ever do health and safety at a supermarket if you value your sanity. My goodness. Lasted about 7 months there before I'm like, I've had enough. I'm about to go kill someone. Ironic, being a health and safety person there. Anyway, and then that's when me and the boy then moved down to the city where we live now, and I've got my current job, which I love. And I get on along with everyone in the place, so yeah. But anyway, that was a very, very long answer to your question. How did your chance meeting with your ex-boss go? Oh bruh. Oh bruh. Oh. like, I've always had a respect for people in customer service. Any retail person, any person at the checkouts, anything, I've just like already had a massive respect for, just because, you know, they've got to deal with assholes on a daily basis. I now have, like, they are divine. They are saints. They are blessed, and they will inherit the earth. Because, my God, I've never despised the general public more than when working at a supermarket. Like, I can't even put into words my utter... I'm gonna start using some strong words. My hatred, my rage, my frustration, my extreme exasperation, my dumbfoundedness, my seething malcontent towards the general public after working at a supermarket. Lordy lord. My goodness. Anyway, but I digress. I actually got let go. Deserved it. Oh, tell the story. Go ahead. Go ahead. To be honest, like, I always find that bosses, I find that, like, people who are, like, let go, there's always something, it's hardly ever just because they're doing rubbish stuff, it's always because there's, like, some political reason behind it, or just, you know, it's like a clash of personality more than anything. Like, if a manager doesn't like someone, or doesn't get along with someone, then it's like they'll find whatever they can, whatever loophole they can, to, like, get rid of someone, and I don't like it. Look, as a ticket agent, so I can relate to people sometimes being ignorant to things. We can tell when you're sticking your food. I've always wondered that. Drops you. A lot of people I know who've done that have done it for that exact reason, so it must just be, it's common enough to be like, I think no one really, almost dropped my broccoli, and no one really minds, I guess. No, hey, we all would too. One free movie a month. If you remember 2015 had some bangers. I say Avengers Age of Ultron, but actually it's probably one of the Marvel films I probably will rewatch the least. Didn't particularly care for that one when I think about it. Oh no. Just as an aside, just realised I've got to stop the pre-rolls from happening, so I'm just going to run another super quick ad. Super quick ad. Just to kill the pre-rolls. But we've got the story, we've got the movie theatre story to listen to. Oh dear, you sneaked in someone. God damn. God, the boy really knows how to make rice good. Because I'm sure everyone would have done it. Surely. Did you ask the co-worker? And then they dropped you in. We check the time, and around the time the move starts at the worst seat. Ah.
I'm not one of the 7 ninjas.
So check the nearest time. Secure my seat in the front row. I don't know, I'm gonna pull off until I forget to sneak out the employee. What would be my boss? Oh no. Oh no. No, because it was the fact that it would have been the fact too that it was like so, something so like innocuous like that as well. I'm guessing like saying that you bought a ticket to go wouldn't have worked. Your heart would have been you would have like plummeted too. Oh no. I just saw the force and he admit he was really said congrats, that was your free move instead if I did again.
And you'll live on as a hero.
You did it again, didn't you? Oh no.
Tell me you're joking.
Then January came in, forgot, but Justice League came out and used my free movie pass. Oh. Oh, at least he didn't get like, at least it wasn't a traumatic experience, as in like you got pulled into the office and were like screamed and shouted at. That would have been awful, especially for being like 15 and 15, 16 as well. I would have started crying. Yeah, at least he was like cool about it, I guess. Silver lining. Silver lining.
Resistance is futile. Had enough? There's something else.
Yeah, because I know of like some, you get some bosses that are like absolutely horrible. And just scream and shout, and it just makes it awful. Makes it absolutely awful. Yeah, and I've seen the other thing too, when you know, I've been exposed to like, you know, in businesses with his HR, and just sort of having like being around and having exposure to what senior management is like, and what they gossip about and talk about in the business, has made me very critical of managers and bosses. To an extent though, I think like, you know, bosses at smaller places, like managers at smaller places, I kind of feel for them sometimes, because they generally have to put up with rubbish from head office. You know, and they tend to be the good you know, the good dudes, but like corporate senior managers, my lord, I just have no time of day, like wouldn't give them the time of day. It's like they just forget that other people like are humans. You're just a cog in the machine. Thank you for sharing your story. And I hope others who are listening can hear our tales of woe. Not really, I wouldn't say woe, but say I'd say getting let go is... It's not as... I suppose it's not as bad as being fired, I guess. Also looks good on your CV too. Where you could say I was let go rather than fired. Oh my goodness, controls just died? No, there we are. Free to fight people with food tickets. Yeah, grocery stores just I'd say it probably wasn't helped by the fact I was living in a town that full of colourful characters. Like I've seen people be like pinned down on the ground by the store manager and a security guard while the police come running in because they were trying to nick alcohol. I've seen elderly people like lightly brush past across like the edge of a box and their whole arm is just like gashed out and bleeding all over the floor. I've seen people I've had to like, you know, secure the scene when people have just like collapsed in the middle of the floor. I've had to hear people screaming and shouting. I've had to even see, and this one I actually thought was kind of funny, and everyone that watched it was kind of fun, thought it was funny as well. On the security camera, we got treated to the delight of two homeless dudes right outside the foyer fighting, having like a turf war over a cigarette butt on the ground. Like they were like fighting each other about who gets the cigarette butt. And it was the single saddest thing. The fact that these guys are in a position where they, I don't want to say have to do that, but you know, they do that. And B, it was hilarious because it's not like they weren't being violent to anyone else around them. They were just being violent to each other over a cigarette butt on the ground that anyone could have just picked up and taken, I guess. Yeah, and then just people getting so grumpy about the smallest things. A woman was in distress, absolute distress, and I'm like, ma'am, there's literally nothing I can do right now, because I'm sorry that there's no macadamias on the shelf that are made in New Zealand. I'm very sorry that all we stock are ones from Australia or somewhere else. Very sorry we're out of the made in New Zealand stock. And she was distressed. Oh, she was distraught. Oh, I just think it's appalling how a supermarket in New Zealand can't possibly store macadamia nuts made in New Zealand. I'm like, well, maybe because people have eaten all the New Zealand macadamia nuts. I don't know. I'm not one of the buying team. Just fucking health and safety. I'm just trying to get back from my lunch break. Oh, that's right, because you're having a little panic attack in the aisle, I'm about 20 minutes late from my lunch break, or from clocking back in from my lunch break, and now I'm going to get in trouble for time theft because I've clocked in late from my lunch break. Hello.
Oh, you're
Like 1 minute.
Oh, nice.
What'd you ask? Yes. What did you do with the rice? It is delightful and delicious. Oh, it is fantastic.
I did flavour the chicken as well.
No, it's the rice specifically. Yeah. Wow. Thanks. Yeah. It was lovely. Oh, thank you. Bye. Anyway. That is the boy summoning me to get some ice cream. He's not actually summoning me. He's just saying we do an ice cream. But yeah. Anyway, moral of the story is don't work in a supermarket if you can help it. If you are going to work in a supermarket, work in like the back storeroom or something. You don't really have to deal with customers. You just deal with like truck drivers. And they're alright. At least they're okay, I guess. But then you better hope that your storeroom has enough space for all the deliveries. Because otherwise you then become public enemy number one of all the departments when the toilet paper gets left out in the rain because there's no space to put it inside. all hell's broken loose because now we've got wet toilet paper. Anyway. Right, I will leave it there for this evening. I've did like way more fights than I was expecting to, which is fabulous. It's less I have to do later on. And yeah, oh, grumpy customer brought her son. I tell her it's a rated movie. That's alright. It doesn't look too bad. I'm being yelled at for not telling you that. To be honest, Scout's Guide to the Zombie. Oh, I think I know the one you mean. Yeah, Scout's Guide to the Zombie Apocalypse. It's like my dad used to work at a video game store, and like you got like a grandmother bringing like 7-year-old Timmy in to buy Grand Theft Auto 5, and he's like to the grandma's like, I'm just gonna have to warn you. I have to say this. You can run in this game right here that little Timmy wants to buy. You can run over a lady of the night and then beat her to death or shoot her to death if you so please, if you so choose. And she's like, oh my goodness, really? Timothy, this game is atrocious. And the kid is just giving dad like the absolute like stare down of death for ruining his day. But then sometimes the grandmothers just bite anyway. Anyway, stay lively. But no, I will leave it there. Thank you so much for joining. I will be back probably tomorrow night. Probably. Possibly. Maybe. I'm not streaming this weekend, so I'm trying to like get them all, cram it all in this week. I'll see. And if it is, it will be... I haven't decided what it's going to be yet. Maybe Trails. Probably Trails. But anyway, thank you. Catch you next time. Love ya. Stay well. Stay rested. Stay hydrated. Stay fruity fresh. Stay fabulous. Stay you. Stay delightful. Stay golden. Stay golden. But no, I'll catch y'all later and bye.